welcome to another episode of Imperial Diecast. Today I thought I'd be reviewing one of the smaller cars again. You know, the ones that you can get for a handful of euros. So the car I'm going to be reviewing today is the BMW Z4 E86 hatchback coupé in 1/32 scale by Kinsmart. As always, Kinsmart has made this car in a few other colors, with the other ones being red, blue, and brown, as well as a somewhat rarer black. But today I'm going to be reviewing this silver one. Now, the first-gen BMW Z4 Roadster, which was codenamed E85, replaced the BMW Z3 and had a production run from 2002 to 2008. But this fastback coupé variant, codenamed E86, wasn't launched until 2006. The first-generation BMW Z4 is from the controversial Chris Bangle era, although this E86 was designed by the Danish BMW designer Anders Warming in the late 90s. So I'm going to begin this review by telling you that the only things that opens on this Kinsmart, just like all other Kinsmarts, are the doors. I mean, that's it. And just like all the other Kinsmarts, this one also has a pullback mechanism. Another feature of this car is that it is rear-wheel drive. The Z4 is known to have a huge hood compared to the rest of the car, and those proportions are reflected perfectly on this Kinsmart model as well. You can also see that they put some extra detail into the windshield wipers, and you have two bumps on the hood to symbolize the windshield washer nozzles. When taking a closer look at the front of this car, perhaps what you will notice is that the fog lights are missing. And these fog lights are present on the Roadster E85 version that is also made by Kinsmart. So that's unfortunate that they forgot to include that detail. But overall, I have to say that the front is designed very well by Kinsmart. I mean, it looks even better than the 1/18 scale by Burago, because even on that scale, you have pegs on the headlights, and the slats on the kidney grills aren't aligned perfectly. So if you want this in 1/18 scale, I'd recommend the Maisto E85 instead, although you can also check out the one by Motormax if you want. Keep in mind that both of them are E85 Roadsters. If you want this E86 coupé in 1/18 scale, you're pretty much out of luck because your only option is Kyosho, and it'll cost you more than 100 euros. But if you're going to go for a Kyosho BMW Z4, I suggest you get the second generation E89 instead, because that Kyosho model has an amazing retractable hardtop mechanism and still only costs the same amount of money, and is therefore definitely the better bang for your buck compared to the E86 coupé by Kyosho. So let's go over the engine detail real quick. The E86 contains a 3-liter inline-6 engine taken straight out of an E46 3 Series BMW, however with the horsepower up to around 250 horsepower. The top speed is capped to 250 km per hour. 0 to 100 km per hour can be achieved in approximately 6 seconds. One thing that I don't like about this car is the metallic paintwork. I mean, you can see how coarse it is. I've seen other silver paints that are far less grainy than on this one. This reminds me of the Motormax Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. It's not particularly fine. Here's a look at the side profile of the car. And this is also one of the reasons why I decided to buy the hatchback coupé instead of the Roadster, because you can see how smoothly the top curves down to the back. We have the BMW logo here. It's not just a sticker, but it's actually a 3D embossed logo, although the BMW sticker doesn't sit exactly where it's supposed to. And you can also see that they replicated that little groove exactly how it looks like on the real car. Now let's take a look at the rims. Now I have to say that for a Kinsmart, this BMW Z4 Coupé has some very nice details on the rims. I mean, you can see the BMW logo in the middle surrounded by lug nuts. You can see the individual spokes that are also split into 2 spokes each. So if you compare this with the usual amount of detail that Kinsmart puts into the rims of its other cars, this is phenomenal. Because the other ones, such as on the Toyota Celica, which I've also reviewed, were very basic. And here's a look at the back of the car. And already the things that bother me are that the BMW logo is not sitting exactly where it should. Although keep in mind that this is a 1/32 scale car, so to the human eye, this is very hard to spot. We do have a brake light designed, however, on top of it, and it even has the individual, I guess you can say, design elements incorporated into it. It's just a sticker, though. It's not a separate piece. These taillights, though, are separate pieces. You can hear that it's a different plastic piece here. You have the turn signal marked in silver on both sides. But perhaps the most impressive feature of the back is the amount of detail that went into these parking sensors. I mean, just look at those. I've seen 1/18 scale Buragos where the parking sensors are just like tiny indentations on the mold, whereas here they're really done nicely. Of course, you got the BMW license plate down here, and you do have a dual exhaust here, which is not painted. So theoretically, if you had some silver paint, you could paint it yourself to make it look better. There's some rudimentary detail that Kinsmart also put for the fuel cap and the door handles. Moving on to the interior of the Kinsmart car. This is usually a place where Kinsmart is least detailed, but they have done some work on replicating the silver trim on the dashboard, for example. And you even have these buttons here, these silver ones, for the radio, as well as a little bit of a radio designed here, and the air vents, of course. And this is a 6-speed manual transmission. One thing I like about the interior of the BMW Z4, though, is that they've decided to make this interior in a color other than black. I mean, you can see a lot more details on the seats and the center console, for example, between the seats, than if they had decided to just keep all of this in black. And here's a look at the driver's side. One big thing that is missing is the BMW logo on the steering wheel. But theoretically, you could do this yourself by printing out a 1mm x 1mm BMW logo and sticking it on the steering wheel. What I do like, however, is that they did take the extra trouble to design the rev meter and the speedometer and give them this depth. They could have just put like a sticker or something on it, which they didn't. So you can see that there is this extra bit of detail there. And here's a look at the bottom. You can see that it says BMW Z4 Coupé, scale 132 by Kinsmart. And the detail for the under tray of this car actually is quite impressive for a car that only costs you a handful of euros. I mean, I paid like 5 or something for this. They did put pretty cool detailing here, including the camshaft and the muffler. And of course you also have some nice detailing on the tires. Alright guys, I hope you liked this review. Stay tuned for more, because in a couple of weeks I'll be uploading something far more interesting. This is Imperial Diecast signing out.